Hey, everybody. John Granato from the bench, mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. For those of you that have any issues with the 97.5 signal, go to 92.5 FM. AJ Hoffman from the Blitz afternoons on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Let's talk some Texas football. Now that Deshaun is locked into a long-term deal with a bunch of money, AJ, what are fans going to expect of him? Are we going to demand more of Deshaun Watson going forward?
You're going to have to, because what we've seen historically is once these quarterbacks go from being 4.5% of the salary or of the salary cap to about 20% of the salary cap, they have to just be great in order to have any success, because the rest of the team that you're putting around them is not going to be as good. So the pressure will fall on Deshaun, who's now he's almost a 20% of the salary cap guy. At least he will be when this contract takes over. You're going to have to be better, because what he's done so far, being 4.5% of the cap, wasn't good enough to be a championship contender. So he's going to really have to take his next step. It's a big risk for the Texans, but they believe in Deshaun, and Deshaun's going to have to really prove that he was worth this deal.
Yeah, I don't know that. I wouldn't say risk. Hell, you had to pay him. I mean, he's the franchise. You're always looking for that quarterback, and he is the quarterback. He's got to step up, though. He's got to be more like Mahomes. He's got to be more like Lamar. Now, Lamar has got his issues as well in the postseason, so he's got to. But Deshaun can't throw in stinkers like he did against Carolina. He can't throw in stinkers like he did against the Ravens last year. He can't throw in stinkers against Buffalo. And here's a thing, though, that I think we're doing, and maybe we won't be doing much anymore. You know, Bill O'Brien's negative reputation is kind of shielded. I'm guilty of it. Last year, the Bills game, I was like, well, Bill O'Brien sucked this game. The Colts playoff game, when they both sucked, but I gave as much of the fault to Bill O'Brien as I did to Deshaun Watson. You know, that's got to stop. Deshaun has got to carry this team, and if he doesn't agree with what Bill O'Brien is doing, then he needs to step up and say, no, we ain't doing that. We're going to do it this way, and we're going to win football games.
Well, they paid the Deshaun Watson that plays for Bill O'Brien. That's who they invested in. So the Deshaun Watson that plays for Bill O'Brien has to improve. And you're right, he has to knock out those stinkers. I get what you're saying when you say they had to pay him, just like the Rams had to pay Jared Goff. Just like the Raiders had to pay Derek Carr when they did. It doesn't always work out, though. And some of those quarterbacks have regressed. Hopefully we don't see that in Deshaun. Typically what we've seen is these guys who get the mega deals have been guys who have at least been close, been to a Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl before he got his big deal. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl before he got really paid. Deshaun hasn't really been close. And that's the part that concerns me is, do we know what he's capable of? Have we already seen the best of him, at least the best of him with Bill O'Brien? Because I've got the feeling Bill O'Brien is going to be here for at least a good chunk of that window that Deshaun is signed for. And if Bill O'Brien's gone, it means that Deshaun has not lived up to the money that he got.
No, absolutely. And I agree with you. I'm not worried about Deshaun, though. I think Deshaun is, first of all, his work ethic, and secondly, his abilities, his talents. I don't think he's Derek Carr. I don't think he's Jared Goff. I think he's closer to Mahomes and Lamar. Now, you're right, though. You got Ben Roethlisberger won in his second year. Tom Brady won in his second year. I mean, these guys won big, and then they got paid, which is, something that Deshaun has not done. I agree 100%, but I don't have any doubt that Deshaun Watson is not going to be Derek Carr or Jared Goff.
Well, the scary thing, what if he's Russell Wilson? And remember, Russell Wilson won in his first contract and got paid, and you see that team start to crumble around him. And Russell Wilson's good enough that he's kept his team competitive year in and year out, but he's not good enough to really get him over the hump without the team built around him. And when you start to see some of these guys fall up, it's almost inevitable that the Texans, J.J. Watt's not going to be here much longer, because you can't afford to pay J.J. Watt much longer once Deshaun's money kicks in. You wouldn't have been able to afford to pay DeAndre Hopkins what he just got, knowing what Deshaun Watson just made. So you're going to see the roster start to sort of slowly crumble around him. This is what it does put pressure on is Bill O'Brien, the GM, because now Bill O'Brien, the GM, is going to have to go out and make smart deals, which so far he's shown to be pretty incapable of. He's paid sticker price or higher for almost everybody that he's brought in. He's going to start having to find some guys that outperform the contracts that they're given and stop overpaying what they've performed.
Well, you do that with draft picks, and he doesn't value draft picks, so that's going to be a real problem because that's where you get your value. You get your value in the first 3 years of Deshaun Watson playing above his contract. You get your value in Titus Howard, in Mike Sharping, and he doesn't value draft picks, so that's going to be awfully difficult. But yeah, I agree with you. The Russell Wilson thing, I think, is a great comparison. I think those two are almost identical, except Russell won because he had a great defense in his first couple of years, which Deshaun Watson hasn't come close to having. So they're both carrying their teams into the postseason, and they can only do so much. And you know what? I think that's something that we might have to live with Deshaun, is that he can only take this team so far because to be a Super Bowl champion, you've got to have the whole package. And the Texans just don't have the whole package and won't have the whole package probably under Bill O'Brien.